and services that span the globe. Through our interconnected infrastructure and cutting-edge technology, we can effectively broadcast your information from our studios to any location on the planet. Our focus lies in directing your message to the smart devices of citizens worldwide, ensuring accessibility and facilitating connections with your intended audience. We actively seek global partnerships with you and exploring the possibilities of collaboration.
Barbados, so we are here in the Caribbean region and we're streaming in the UK where we are reaching you with Heart Talk Between Sisters. So Sherma, my dear sister, on the last, as we get to the last part of our segment, today's segment, um, I had two questions for you. Number one, why a PhD? Why a PhD?
Well, I think I sort of touched on it a little earlier when I said after my master's, these opportunities arose. When I looked around in terms of my responsibilities, there were very few in terms of familial responsibility. There was no husband, there were no children, So I thought, well, why not? If this opportunity is being given to me, I should walk through this door. And so that's when I decided, yes, I'll go for it. And it was also being funded, so I didn't I didn't have to
It's
cough up
free,
the
so why
funds.
not?
Exactly, in terms of the whole reparation movement and so on. I thought, well, this is a good.
So, PhD students who are studying in Barbados, I mean, you have some lovely options there of what you can do in even a very small island like Barbados. So yeah,
Yeah.
so congrats to Barbados. Lovely place to visit, lovely place to live. I'm kind of a bit jealous of you kind of thing, you know.
Uh,
Yeah. But the grass always is green on the other side, I guess. But I mean, I
right?
believe the grass is greener on that side, just
But
saying.
Barbados is a lovely place to live, and it's very interesting how I came to live here. As I said, I was working at Manchester Metropolitan University in the UK, and I found the darkness so isolating. And
Mm,
for the students, I don't know if I was an oddity or what, but my classes used to be full, and they just used to be like, eating out of my hands because I'm bringing this developing country perspective that they've never
yes.
heard out. So, colleagues in St. Augustine at that
Yeah.
time, they had just recruited two PhDs in tourism, in tourism, a PhD, and
Wow.
I just went, and I remember in the UK they wanted me to apply for the job I was in, and
Mm-hmm.
apply for the job I'm in. Well, what is this? And then
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for the contract to come through, and
Mm-hmm.
I recall when I got it, I said, well, actually, I'm going to the Oxford of the Caribbean, and all of a sudden I didn't have to apply anymore. The job was mine. And
Wow.
I say this to say to everyone that you have to know your worth. You have to know what you bring to the table. And
Yes.
it's very important to walk in that knowledge. Don't oversell yourself or undersell yourself. Understand your
Mm-hmm.
value. And all the doors were suddenly open up for me to stay. But it was not about the university because I had wonderful colleagues.
About knowing your worth, and I love that. I really love that. As women, it segues into what my next question was, which is really how did you handle yourself as a woman living in England, such a large place? You mentioned about it being lonely and it's dark and all of that. I mean, those are opportunities there where you would have been extremely vulnerable at those times. And, how did you handle that as a woman? You spoke about your worth, knowing your worth. I mean, easier said than done. when you're in a very vulnerable situation, as you were in while you were in England. So you want to share some bits about that?
That's it's not something that I've actually reflected on as you sort of go through. But I've always had a community. So I had my friend Donna, I had Auntie, another person I met serendipitously or through the grace of God or the timing of God. I was on the platform of the Surrey station. I was going home and she was there. I think it was like 5 a.m. in the morning. And I call her Auntie. Her name is Judith Nicholas. And I said good morning, and she said, "You must be from the Caribbean because nobody says good morning." She adopted me. When I say adopted, like full on adopted. So I think I made a very deliberate let loneliness overtake me because it's a rabbit hole. And when you
Mm,
go
yeah.
down a rabbit hole, to dig yourself back out, it's hard. My mom died during my PhD. She died
Wow.
1 year into my PhD. And her
Wow.
last words to me were, I'm coming to your graduation. I said, Mommy, are you coming to my graduation? And she said, yes.
Oh, oh dear.
And I recall writing and the tears are just coming on my computer. I never
Yes.
stopped. I ended in the 3 years I was supposed to end because she is a pragmatist and she would say, hey, I ain't going on holiday, girl. It's better than even as you grieve, you have to get on with it. And so
Yes.
I think it is my pragmatism that has really got me through the grace of God, staying grounded. Sometimes you wander away from God, but He never wanders away
Yeah,
from us. He
that's
holds
right.
us
Indeed.
close. Yeah.
Indeed.
And
Yeah.
so it was my community that really, I think, helped me to
Yes.
navigate
Yeah.
academia, preaching.
You went through a tough time during the PhD. You know, that's
Yeah.
tough. That's a lot to deal with in a strange land, not knowing
Hmm.
many persons. But it always seems that in your life, you just always were in the right place at the right time. You know, that things just happened. Getting the PhD, being in the British High Commission, getting the scholarships, community, you mentioned community and persons just offering themselves to you to support you and be there for you. That's just really being in the right place at the right time, and also God just orchestrating
Yeah.
and ordering your footsteps. You know,
Yeah.
because when the Bible says the steps of a righteous man, they are ordered by God. You know, it's like your footsteps were ordered by God,
Yeah.
literally down to in the
Yeah.
train station and all. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
That's
Wow,
that's
that
how
that,
I
that
feel.
that's
I
amazing.
yeah, the Bible says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my own eye.
Yeah,
And that has been my experience. And of course, persons who might be listening might be saying, "Oh, this is a superwoman." I'm not a superwoman. I am subject to human frailties like everybody else. And you might be asking about love and relationships.
yes.
Um, yeah, I've had my fair share of love and relationships. I am married. I got
Yeah.
married in 2017. And you seem so overwhelmed because you just seen it in
Mm,
front of back. If we just pause and quiet
yeah.
ourselves, we would get is contemplating marriage. Alana, I would have said this to you,
Yeah.
is really to ensure that you and the person have the same values. So I
Yeah.
remember I said, "Oh, just a Christian, but do you have the same
Yeah.
values around God, around family, around
Mhm.
money, around
Yeah.
sex, around
Yeah.
commitment? Just have the things that you prioritize, ensure that that person has those values, and you know, two can work
Yeah.
together if they agree."
Certainly agree. Yes.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sherma, for that advice. I take that advice, and I hope that anyone listening out there, male or female, man or woman, would take the advice you've given, talking from experience with relationships and with marriage. Yeah, sometimes life experiences could make us a bit tough, and like Teflon. Some people call it like a Teflon spirit, or they say, it's like water off a duck's back. you
yeah.
know. Um, would you say that, throughout your life or at any point in your life, the things you would have gone through sort of made you tough in a way?
Yeah. So so yes, living in England, you had to be strong.
Mm.
Yeah. I finished your PhD in 3 years. You dressed too well, and
Wow.
I could not find a link between those two things. So
Yes.
and then you saw people gossiping and so on. So what that did to me is that I always block out the noise. As long as you are
Mm.
not disrespectful to me, Alana, like I
Mm.
am not concerned about what is said about me, So that
Mm.
has made me tough. I think my
Mm.
relationship experiences have also made me tough. Um,
Mm.
and my mantra now, and I think you have to
Mm.
walk through it, is when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And I
Oh,
think
wow.
sometimes women, we don't believe because the way a man might be presented, he might present himself like, you're so soft and so gentle and so kind. But I'm not
Mm.
looking behind the curtain to see the other things. But then I might look behind the curtain and see some. I said, nah, you're too sweet for me. You can't be like that. And so in this constant stage of denial, but when somebody shows you who they don't I would say don't give them another and some of my friends think I'm harsh. I say, but the
Mm.
evidence, I'm a social scientist and I look at the evidence. And if the
Yes.
evidence does not support the narrative, then I can't go with the narrative because they expect everybody to embrace it at this time. Uh,
Yes.
but this has just those experiences in terms of living in the UK, maybe being in academia, because you write and you think, oh, that is a wonderful piece that I've just written. And then somebody sends you back a review and say, hello, what rubbish is this? And you have
Yes.
to do a rubber turn. You have to humble
Yes.
yourself and say, well, actually, I really didn't see, but it takes.
Yes.
So it makes me tough, but not uncompassionate. That's not a word.
Yes.
I'm still compassionate. I'm still empathetic. I'm still sympathetic. But I know, where the lines are to be drawn. And as
Yes.
we are all a work in progress till we all come.
We are. We are all a work in progress.
Yes.
And in my line of work, with what you mentioned there about when somebody shows themselves who they really are, believe them. In my line of work, we call that red flags or indicators.
Right.
Yeah. And people show red flags. It may not pop up too often, but it pops up. And when it pops up, it's glaring like a red
Yeah.
flag.
Yeah.
Take
So
note, pay attention.
we so
You
want
know.
it men sometimes, that we just ignore the red flags.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And they're very glaring. They might just pop for about a 5 seconds or 5 minutes, but when it shows up, it might be 5 minutes out of knowing them for 5 months, but it's
Yeah.
an important 5 minutes.
Yeah, and Alana, you
Yeah.
heard me speak a lot about community. And you don't have to have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends. I have friends in epochs. So I have my Tobago friends, my British High Commission friends, my UE friends, and so on. And
Ah,
it might be three at a time, but they have been
yes,
steady. You know,
yes, yes,
keep
yes.
community, keep community.
Yeah, thank God. That is a blessing, eh? That's a blessing to
Yeah,
have that. And
yeah,
I have a dear friend of mine, a dear friend of ours, who is that she is so fantastic at networking and having
yes,
networks, I admire her with that. I mean, she's young. She's not as
yeah.
young as we are, you and I. But
I
she's
beg your
young, and
pardon.
for such a young
Yes,
person to really be using those networks and building and keeping the networks, and it forms a community in a sense, because we have networks that are out there, they're more external, they're a little further out, and then you have the networks that are closer and close knit that you keep close to you, and
yeah,
that you maintain those relationships and you nurture and you build on those relationships.
yeah,
So very important. And you have endorsed it again this afternoon in your sharing Heart Talk Between Sisters. So I
yeah.
thank you so much, Sherma, for taking the time out. I thank you so much for offering yourself to share on Heart Talk Between Sisters and for being so open and honest about your life experiences. We're going to have this, we're going to share this with you so that you'll have it for your records, future records. And certainly we would love to have you back on our program. Is Leaders of All Nations International, and they are a group comprising women and men from over 190 countries in the world. And they sent something on a chat, and I said, this looks so interesting. So I wanted to read it with you. Sherman, was the first time you're going to be hearing it, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this because I find it's very interesting. So this is it. When the Chinese decided to live in peace, they built the Great Wall of China. They thought that no one would climb it because of its height. However, in the 100 years after its construction, the Chinese were invaded 3 times more. Enemy infantry soldiers never had the need to climb or penetrate the wall because they always bribed the guards and got in through the gates. Do we still have Sherma? Okay. I think we lost her, but I'll still read. Great, Sherma is back with us. All right, so the Chinese had built high and thick walls, but they couldn't build the characters of the wall guards. As a result, building human character is different and important. It precedes the construction of everything else. This is what the new generation needs today. As an Orientalist said, if you want to destroy the civilization of a nation, there are 3 ways. Destroy the family structure, destroy the education system, belittle and demean the role models and references. To destroy the family, belittle and degrade the motherhood. To destroy the education system, do not give importance to educators and teachers and lower their reputation in society so that their students will despise and belittle them. Belittle the reputation of role models, destroy scholars and scientists so that they are suspected and no one listens to them or follows them. When the conscious mother is lost, the dedicated teachers are lost, and the role models are discredited, who will teach human values to young people?
Mm.
I know it was a mouthful, but what I found stood out with me was when you, in your context, is the education system. They say destroy the education system, and to destroy that, you destroy the educators and the teachers and lower their reputation. To make them irrelevant. Work seriously to make scholars and scientists irrelevant so that people will suspect the things and the ideas that they will be presenting. I find it is an interesting analogy, and I do remember looking at this movie on, I think it was the Great Wall of China, where there was the wall, number one, they bore a hole through the wall, right, and went under, and that they actually targeted the gates, the entrance gates of the walls, you know. Um, so it's interesting. It's kind of like the movie Troy, where it has the Trojan horse, so the way to destroy and to get into a community or society is to infiltrate the society. And this is what this thing is talking about, infiltrate by bribing the guards, the wall guards and stuff. So, when we're talking about, talk about several ways about how we are to live with each other and how we are to live as persons, a way of life. That's what Christianity is, a way of life. And that's the life that you have chosen, Sherma, to live from the age of 13. And we
Yeah.
see from what you've shared on Heart Talk Between Sisters, how um, you deciding to follow the Christian way has shaped your life and made you into the person who you are today. Not just a woman, as you said, because you're not just a woman, you're a human being. So it has made you into the human being that you are today, where you're strong, you're tough, but doesn't mean that you're uncaring, and you are able to bypass the things that people say about you. You block out all the noise and the negative. You've overcome many things in your life. Mom passing away while you're doing a PhD, which is a really tough thing to do. Crying while you're actually writing your PhD paper because of having lost your mom. Not having mentors really there as a young person. but still choosing to pursue university education and beyond. So we see so many great successes and good things happening.
Good opportunity for me to reflect on the faithfulness of God, even when I was not faithful, to reflect on, how he took me through failures and tears and, brought me out on top and with the lessons learned and so on. So, for people sisters who might be just having a tough time, um, you will see the importance of it after. And I don't know if that is any comforting words for you while you're going through it, but it's to build character in you, and it's for you to be on heart to heart with sisters and to tell your story to encourage the next person. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I really enjoy the reflections, the opportunity to reflect that it gave me, Alana. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you again, and thank you for tuning in to Heart Talk Between Sisters, where we inspire conversation and we encourage persons. Thank you to Dr. Green, Clarence Green, for facilitating today's session. And we do wish you all a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to talking with you or chatting with you on Heart Talk Between Sisters next Friday. Goodbye.
Are you ready to dive into heart-to-heart conversations that touch your soul? Look no further than Heart Talk Between Sisters, your story segment. Join us for a journey of laughter, tears, and unbreakable bonds as we explore the unique connection between sisters. From shared memories to deep reflections, our segment is a safe space to celebrate sisterhood in all its beauty and complexity. Let your heart soar as we discuss love, life, and everything in between, all with the understanding and warmth only sisters can provide. Whether you're reminiscing about childhood adventures or seeking advice on navigating life's twists and turns, Heart Talk Between Sisters is here for you. Tune in and feel the love radiate through the airwaves. Don't miss out on the magic of sisterly connection. Tune in to Heart Talk Between Sisters, your story segment today. For more information, call 1-868-743